This match week 25 Saturday kicks off down south in the forested metro of Atlanta and Marietta, Georgia. Just 5 weeks remain in the regular season. Crucial playoff points on the line today between rivals Atlanta United and Orlando City. Welcome inside the Atlanta training ground, along with our broadcast team, Jake Griffith. Pleasure to have you alongside us for this fixture. Atlanta United just one loss in their last 9 matches at home. Meanwhile, Orlando City, they bring a 4-match losing skid to town. They have just 1 win in their last 9 fixtures overall and have been kept out of goal in the last 180 minutes. A chance to look at the standings as we open this broadcast, and with just 5 match weeks remaining in MLS Next Pro play, every point is ever so crucial. This is the situation entering this match week 25 Saturday. You see Atlanta United in 7th position, 1 point off the pace of Red Bull New York. There are matches left to be played today. This kicks off a busy slate both today and tomorrow, but a win today for Atlanta United too would do a lot to give themselves breathing room there at that cut line that is starting to take shape right around that NYCFC Chicago Fire situation. Orlando City B, meanwhile, we mentioned the recent results with the 4 consecutive losses, winless in 5 consecutive. Not a good time to hit a poor run of form. They're on the outside looking in, but they are only 1 point back of the playoff picture, entering this weekend. Atlanta United, they are coming off a win at home against Chicago Fire 2. And as we take a look at the starting 11 for manager Jose Silva, they make just 1 change from that match week 24 victory. Amir Henry will slot in over on the right side of the midfield. No Enzo Dovolo today, was shown a red card in the late stages of that match. They will not have his services. For Atlanta United, dominating the ball is what Jose Silva wants to see from this team. They're a top 15 possession team in MLS Next Pro. Specifically, they're going to want to use their 10 in Santiago Pita. That is the beauty of the 4-2-3-1. It does allow that 10 to be a real link in play between the lines. He called it rest possession, how they sit in on the ball against an Orlando City B side who, under manager Julian Vergara, also go with a 4-2-3-1. And this Lions side, they are a top 5 possession team in MLS Next Pro. They love to hold on to that ball, but compact defending is what they will aim for today. They weren't as compact against Chicago Fire in that 2-0 loss that they would hope. In the 4-2-3-1, you're going to see Hilton and Belgadere. They're going to drop from those wide positions. They're going to try to form more of a 4-5-1 shape defensively. They gave up a lot of space in those wide areas against Chicago Fire too, trying to rectify that against a high-scoring Atlanta offense today. Aislinn Pekshanar is our center referee. His whistle sounds. Atlanta kicks things off. Back to Jonathan Ransom. And this Saturday slate in MLS Next Pro is officially underway. It's Atlanta United in the black and red, glancing header back toward Tristan Himes. Orlando City in the road yellow with the purple shorts. Second meeting of 2026. Still 1 to come between these Southeast Division foes. It was Orlando City claiming a 2-0 victory. That came back May 10th. So Haruna grabbing a goal in that contest for the Lions. Also, from the penalty spot, Gustavo Caraballo able to score a goal for Orlando City. That started things in the 9th minute, and we get a whistle from Aislinn Pekshanar. Free kick puts this ball back underway. Atlanta United coming in off that aforementioned win against Chicago Fire 2. They'll peel this back to Jonathan Ransom, who goes long with it. Earlier in the week, manager Jose Silva, he said that in the first 45 minutes on and off the ball, he felt like Atlanta United too were very, very strong. The press bears some fruit here initially. Dunbar with it. League leader in assists. Dunbar trying to cut his way inside. Official says no foul given, despite the appeals from Atlanta United, and that ball goes clipping back into the possession of Tristan Himes, who makes his 15th start of 2026. Played north of 1,200 minutes this season. Worked out a play. It'll be a throw to Atlanta United 2. 7 wins, points in 10 of their 12 matches played at home this season. Taking 18 of a possible last 27 points in home fixtures in 2026. Tied for the third most home wins in MLS Next Pro across both conferences as Dominic Chonqui lays it off. Racing forward with it is Atlanta United 2. Now whip this one along, trying to pick out Dunbar going forward, and that ball too much weight behind it. Out it goes, change of possession. Cameron Dunbar, part of a historic duo for Atlanta United 2 this season. Arif Kovac, the league leader in goals, is also tied for the most goals scored in a single season in club history. Dunbar, most assists in a single season in club history. This Atlanta United side, they have their eyes set on being a part of MLS Next Pro's postseason for the first time since joining the league. Cisse gets rid of it. And now clipped up ahead by Atlanta United. That is where Nolan Miller will come up with things. One of 2 changes made on the back line today for this Orlando City B side. Miller, the 9th pick in the Super Draft this year, out of Michigan, making just his second MLS Next Pro start. Spent the lion's share of his time this year with Orlando City at the first team level. Justin Hilton leading the charge here. Connecting with Lacheras. Belvedere sidesteps one. Plays it over to Lacheras, who has a hit from distance. That'll go leaking through, but wide of goal. Long boot forward, appeals for a foul from Kovac go unanswered, and it finds its way all the way back to the opposite net in Tristan Himes. Himes, one of 3 players signed to homegrown deals back in the month of July for this Orlando City organization. Bernardo Ryan, Tristan Himes, Clovis Archon, all signed to homegrown deals in that month of July. Manager Eddie Wilding earlier in the week talked about the play of Tristan Himes for Orlando City B, said it's been a really important season for him to get minutes. Former Orlando City Academy man, acquired in January of 2025. Spent some time collegiately, Coastal Carolina, South Carolina, but they've liked what they've seen from him in goal this year. 41 saves, stopping almost 60% of the shots he's faced. Speaking of netminders, here's Jonathan Ransom corralling that ball in. 14th start, just shy of 1,200 minutes played in goal for the 2025 MLS Next All-Star, who is fresh off a stint with Jesse Marsh and the Canadian U20 national team at the CONCACAF Championships down in Mexico. Ransom part of that Canada U20 side that qualified for the U20 World Cup for the first time since 2007. Ended up falling in the semifinals to eventual CONCACAF champions Mexico, who toppled the United States. Some good pressure applied early on here for Orlando City. Ransom under duress, has to get rid of it quickly and finds Chonqui, the Atlanta United homegrown. For Orlando City, you go back 2 matches ago to their loss against New York. And it was in the infancy of that contest that they pressed with 3 like they're doing here. They did it against Chicago Fire as well on the road, where they opened up with some good energy and intensity, pressing with that front 3. Some of that energy started to fall off as the contest carried on. It is an Orlando City B-side, though, that they have been able to generate counterattacks in a hurry. They've scored 8 times this year in counterattacking situations. 17s go direct now this time. Over to Chong Kui, trying to sidestep past the defender. Dunbar comes up with it. Here's Dunbar, dodges, works it all the way across, clipped back toward goal, deflected out, and it'll stay here for a corner to Atlanta United 2. Only twice this season has Jose Silva's side found goal off a corner. Santiago Pita set to trigger this in. Team's leader in shots on target per 90 minutes now in his 2nd season with Atlanta United 2. Pita, high arching, in swinging, out with the punch comes Himes. Rebound coughed up, the header wide of that near stick and out of play. Early test from Atlanta United of that Orlando back line, remade here in this Saturday fixture with those 2 changes across the back. For Orlando City, their manager, Eddie Wilding, he said earlier in the week that it's been a tough go of the recent results, of course, for this Orlando City B side, but they're taking 1 game at a time. Said it's hard to compare each of the last 5 matches, different situations, different contexts. He reflected on their loss against Chicago on the road, and he felt like despite the scoreline, they kept it close, it was balanced. Described the 2 goals scored by Chicago as very good team goals scored from the outside, but loved the fact that they went on the road for their 3rd consecutive match with a really young team, competed well in that contest. On the switch, Chong Kui able to straddle the stripe at least for a moment, and the whistle does sound. Couldn't keep that ball in the lines of play. OCB will have the throw in. Lions trying to find Justin Hilton, who lays it off. The interception from Sinanu, carrying it along now. Sinanu! Going to get a hit off despite the defender being right on his hip. It's sailing out of play, though. Officials say it was deflected, so it'll stay on this end. There was a collision of bodies, though, at the end of all of that. And Matthew Sinanu, worse for wear for Atlanta United, too. He is back to his feet, as was Albright Chikamso, the 18-year-old center back. Sinanu's been a big piece for this Atlanta United side. Team leader in defensive contributions per 90 minutes. Chong Kui will back up for the long throw in. They've scored twice this year, Atlanta United have, off throws. Long toss into the area. The heads go up. Headed back along. Back post. Himes punches it away. Lions can't clear the lines, though, and now it does spring free over to Leao. Trying to play Belgadere into space, who has to double back instead. Lacheras product of the Orlando City Academy. Out wide they go. Here's Justin Hilton, the 18-year-old. Has support to his right. Hilton will lay it off. Amu Mensah's cross deflected out, and it's a corner one. Well, despite some of the recent offensive struggles, held scoreless in back-to-back fixtures, this has been the bread and butter of Orlando City this year. 7 corner goals for Eddie Wilding's side. One of the most dangerous set-piece teams in MLS Next Pro. 3rd most set-piece goals. Amu Mensah whips this in, near post, batted down. 17's trying to break out via Santiago Pita. Pita able to win a whistle. And that will give Atlanta United some breathing room. You go back to that first meeting of the year between Atlanta United and Orlando City back in May. This is an Atlanta United side. They do want to try to get vertical. They are the 9th best long ball completion team in MLS Next Pro. The Lions did a good job of taking that away from the 17s back in May as Hilton applies the pressure on Ransom, who goes long on that one. It was something that Jose Silva identified earlier in the week, that because of the complex rotations defensively of Orlando City B, it does make it hard to get that vertical game going. His coaching staff felt like that would be a crucial piece today for Atlanta United. If they could find balls in behind, they would have success. Now we have a stoppage here. Albright Chicamso back down. You'll remember it was just about 5 minutes ago that he and Matthew Sinanu both were down on this natural grass surface, and that means Aislan Peksanar will usher the Orlando City training staff on. Chicamso, the 18-year-old center back, it's his 8th start of the day, or of the year rather, for Orlando City. Former product of the Orlando City Academy, signed an MLS Next Pro deal with this OCB side in May of this year. Did debut last year as an amateur. When he went down initially the first time, he got back to his feet, really grabbing that lower leg. Here's a look at what sent him down the second time around, and you see immediately pulling up and grabbing at that same leg, the right leg of Albright Chicamso is the issue here that the trainers are looking at. Meanwhile, for Atlanta United, too, their manager Jose Silva there in the middle of that huddle. First full year as the manager, had the interim tag dropped in the offseason, took over midway through last year in July of last season. They ended up missing the playoffs, but just narrowly, the 17s did. Missed the cut line by 1 point. They finished 7-5-2 over the final 14 games of 2025. Made it really interesting there at the end of the year. This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Emory Healthcare. While trainers continue to look at Albright Chicamso, who is still down, which has brought about this lengthy delay, Orlando City B a chance to coalesce. Orlando City as an organization, they've always been committed to youth player development. You see it with the first team and interim manager Martin Perlman this year in MLS play. players like Zakaria Taifi, Justin Ellis constantly popping up in that lineup. As Chicomso back to his feet and will walk off under his own power. That ideology trickles down to the second team for Orlando City. This year, they rank as the 4th youngest MLS Next Pro team by average age, and they fielded the 5th youngest starting 11 in the entire league by average age. 18.8 years old is the average roster age of this Orlando City B side. And anytime you have a young team, coaches will tell you you're going to have growing pains with young players. This Orlando City B side, they have gone through that sort of crucible of competition this year. Some really good results, some recent struggles that we mentioned. It was just 5 matches ago that they were able to pull points off of Chattanooga FC, who, courtesy of the Crown Legacy loss earlier in the week against Connecticut United, Chattanooga FC a chance to close that gap atop the table and perhaps inch closer to being that #1 seed come playoff time. Chicomso officially will be unable to continue on, so it's an early changed use by this Orlando City B coaching staff. Play will resume off the drop ball. We're back underway. Nicolas Torres will come on, the former FC Cincinnati Academy man. Not necessarily the start you're looking for if you're Orlando City B, having to make that early of a substitution due to the knock to Chicomso. It is the 12th appearance of the season for Torres, the 19-year-old. Has a goal involvement to his credit this year. Racing down the right flank. Henry turns it in play, headed over the bar, and out. Able to find their talisman, Arif Kovac, the St. Louis native. How many times this year has he done that? Off a service on a platter, headed it in. That time puts it over the target. Jose Silva said this week that Kovac so much gets made of his goal-scoring ability, and deservedly so. Any player who can grab 16 goals in 21 appearances is a pure goal scorer, as that will roll out and Ransom will have the goal clearance. But he said that people always ask him as a coach, what's his best quality? And Jose Silva said he's the best presser on the team. His ability to adapt to the speed of pro football has been something that stood out to Atlanta United's manager. He's just the second ever player in Atlanta United 2 history with at least 10 goals in a season. Finds its way out of play over on the far touchline. 17s have the throw back in. Floated along, no one in behind for Atlanta United 2, and that is where Tristan Himes claims it and rolls it out. Pressure applied here by Kovac and company. There's Haruna, turns it forward. They find Hilton. Gomez, early ball ahead. Out comes Ransom, able to swipe it away from the oncoming Pedro Leal. And now we get a whistle at the end of it. Orlando City and Issa Haruna committing the foul. Driven up in behind, trying to race that down is Hilton in his 8th start of the year. Can't get to it, and Jonathan Ransom, once again, the 18-year-old, will send this away to resume play. Quickly tossed back in on the Orlando City throw-in. Lacheras lays it off. Belgadere able to tuck it back inside. Haruna, top of the area, pulling that ball on a string. Belgadere shuffles wide. Belgadere's service in, headed away by Sinanu. That is where Torres will watch it bounce out of play and quickly chucks it back in. Ignacio Gomez, 2 MLS appearances this season, a couple of short-term agreements he signed with the first team. It's been an important part of what Orlando City B have wanted to do this year, and very much so thought of as one of those players perhaps in the future plans for the first team. Was acquired January 2026 on the loan from Argentinian side Vélez Sarsfield 2, where he made 54 appearances. This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Gallagher. They find Cameron Dunbar, the offseason acquisition. Comes over from Orange County of USL Championship. Cibrian ahead. Santiago Pita really battling there, and there's a reason we highlighted Santiago Pita at the top of this broadcast, not just his offensive ability, but you see when building, how he drops in. Mentioned his ability to link play, connect those lines for Atlanta United. Long ball goes wanting, and it sails out of play. Orlando City under real duress here. Daniel Chica, the former Carolina Core defender, applying that pressure. And now OCB will go ahead with it. Mosisa comes up with the interception. Now he's impeded, and that will draw another whistle. Lofted along. Kovac back to goal, able to lay it off out wide. So far, not much doing for either side offensively in this contest. Still no score. Atlanta United have had a couple looks at goal, 3 shots, all 3 off touches inside that opposite penalty area as Cibrian comes up with it and wins another whistle. But so far, none of them have gone on the target for Atlanta United. '17s get rid of it quickly. Chong Kui. And now Atlanta United progressing forward with it. Touch back inside toward Chong Kui. Defender goes to ground and is able to sweep that away initially. Amu Mensah now forward. One back high up the field by Cibrian. Cisse. Chongqui on the left. Now they find Dunbar, but the offside flag comes up. That'll end the opportunity for Atlanta United. Nonetheless, you can see the ideas not fully expressed quite yet in this fixture for Atlanta United, but they are using that pressure early on to try to manipulate Orlando City. Had a number of high ball recoveries so far, but have not been able to translate that into offense. Mid-air collision. There is a player down for Orlando City, and that is Nicholas Lacheras, who collided midair with Didi Cibrian, and immediately our center referee motioning for trainers to come back out again. It is the Orlando native, Nicholas Lacheras, who is down in a heap in the center of all of those yellow shirts for Orlando City. They've already had to make one change along the back early due to injury. Albright Chicamso coming off, right there in the center of your screen. Cibrian and Lacheras both going for the same ball on the aerial duel. Just a meeting of the heads in midair. For Orlando City, just 42% possession at the moment. Only completed 17 passes in the opposition half of things. It has been some one-way traffic in terms of favoring Atlanta United in the opening almost half hour of this contest. You see on your screen, Lacheras is back to his, at least sitting up. And now Lacheras is back to his feet, which is a welcome sign for the teenager. This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Renegade Lemonade. And with that whistle from Iceland Pexenar, a hydration break is officially underway. It is 90 degrees here in Marietta at the present moment. It was something that both coaches talked about, these players dealing with the warm conditions. Jose Silva said that at this point of the season, his players, they are in full match fitness, but still, even with that, they want to take a couple rests here throughout this contest. This is not the only action around MLS Next Pro that is set to be played today. Here's our upcoming schedule, and specifically tomorrow kicks off a pretty big-time slate of games. Crown Legacy and Chattanooga is the one to watch for right there. Just 4 points separating Crown Legacy and the boys in blue of Chattanooga FC, who are unbeaten in 11 consecutive matches. They recently took the interim tag off of Richard Dixon. He is the full-time manager now, and he has them within striking distance of that top spot in the Eastern Conference. For Crown Legacy, other than a slight blip earlier back in May, it's been somewhat of a wire-to-wire lead in the Eastern Conference standings for Crown Legacy, who are 3-1-1 in their last 5 games, but they did lose earlier in the week to Connecticut United, who via that win have now jumped all the way up into 5th position in the Eastern Conference.
Crown Legacy, if they can continue this run of form, it'd be the second time in club history that they would capture the #1 seed going in to the MLS Next Pro playoffs. Of course, Pick Your Opponent is back in 2026 for these teams. That creates so much intrigue going into that postseason of those top 4 teams, not just getting to host a home playoff game in that opening round, but getting to pick their opening round opponent as well. Really, the Eastern Conference playoff race overall is one that's very, very exciting. Only 12 points separating 1 and 8 in the table right now. And that chase to get above that playoff cut line, it is going to be exactly that, a furious sprint to the finish. Both teams back on the pitch following the hydration break. And with that whistle, we are back underway. Right now in the East, only 6 points separating 6 and 12. Huntsville still alive. Toronto FC still alive. Carolina Core still alive as well, who are just 10 points. The Foxes are back of a playoff spot. Only Cincinnati and Inter Miami have been eliminated in the Eastern Conference playoff conversation. Diagonal ball seeking Haruna. He coughs it up, and it falls to Didi Cibrian. Cibrian to Dunbar. Dunbar trying to take on one too many defenders, and that ball will pop free. Deflected out of play by Chong Kui. It'll be a throw for Atlanta United. Miller works it along. Booming ball forward. And that is where Ransom will just let it bounce into his hands. Other than distribution, Jonathan Ransom hasn't seen much action his way in this opening half. Chong Kui will chip it forward. Now Dunbar trying to get the corner there on Okonski, and does. It's Cameron Dunbar, an official wags the finger and says no foul given. Dunbar and Okonski having some words at the end of it. Now back the other way comes Belgadere and Orlando City. Shuffling back inside, has his pocket picked. We've seen some stoppages in this contest for injuries, but so far, Iceland Pexenar has essentially swallowed the whistle in this opening half, and that somewhat significant. You look at his body of work, averages about 24 fouls called per match during his time in USL League One as an official. But he's letting him play today. It's created some end-to-end action. Here's Dunbar now in the half space. Dunbar cutting to his right. Okonski gets the better of him again. The 18-year-old Landon Okonski playing very well on the leader in the Golden Playmaker race in MLS Next Pro. And now Issa Haruna toppled by Sinanu, and that will draw a whistle. Himes whips this all the way back down, and Ransom will return the favor and help reset this Atlanta United attack. They've really favored the left-hand flank in this opening half. Clipped in behind. Amir Henry trying to run it down, and does. Turns it back across goal. Now just thumped clear by Parker Amu-Mensah out of play. It'll stay here for a Cameron Dunbar throw. And instead it'll be Dominic Chong Kui set to toss it in. including his appearance today. 57 career MLS Next Pro appearances for Chong Kui, the Georgia native. Chica plays it forward. Henry on the right. Back to Chica at the byline, put in front, it falls through, and is cleared away by Justin Hilton. Atlanta United have really upped the pressure these last few minutes, keeping that line high, keeping this ball locked in the attacking half. Almost 60% possession for the 17s here in this almost full opening half. Cisse stutters past Hilton. Space to move centrally. Dish to Dunbar. Pita switching things out wide. Henry trying to go one-on-one there with Torres. And Torres wins that battle. Slicing through is Chong Kui. Tries a hit, blocked away. Well timed by the defender. And Lecheras going to ground to block that away. Orlando City, last time these teams met, as it's a corner conceded, they did record 5 blocked shots in that contest against Atlanta United. One that Atlanta United ended up finishing with 13 total shots, but were only able to rip off 3 total shots on target, none over the final 45 minutes. Corner set to be taken, second of the opening half for Atlanta United, but first, a little bit of jockeying for positioning inside that penalty area that our center referee has seen enough of. And immediately they go right back to it. Now Pexanar will whistle once again. That's been rectified. Corner can be taken here by Atlanta United. Looking for the breakthrough. Swung in, headed away. Second effort will go sailing all the way out of play. Yes, Atlanta United, too, have controlled the tenor of this opening half. They've spent a lot of time in the attacking half, but a tip of the cap is much deserved for this young Orlando City side. Defensively, when transitioning into their low block, when Atlanta are in that attacking half, there's just not a lot of room to move right now for the 17s, as Chong Kui will nod this back over to Ransom. Creating a frustrating day at the office so far in the opening 45 minutes for Atlanta United. Ransom will walk this forward, trying to pick out Chong Kui on the left. A bit under hit, nodded away, and it falls back to Dunbar. Clipped in behind, headed down by Kovac and saved. The first official shot on target of the afternoon for Atlanta United 2. And who else? Arif Kovac. Well served in by Dunbar. Those two have linked up time and time again. And now Jose Silva for Atlanta United, taking some real exception to the recent whistle from Aislan Pexanar during that replay. Well, he and the center referee jawing a bit over on that far touchline. Play is back underway, though. Justin Hilton, he's been dropping in exceptionally deep, helping Orlando City when they build. Covered a lot of ground, the 18-year-old Miami native has. You'll remember he is starting, at least you see him there on the center of your screen, 70 in yellow and purple, at least in terms of a formation shape, starting on the right-hand side of that middle three under OCB's 9 and Pedro Leal. The amount of ground that he's covered on the defensive side of the ball today has been impressive. On the turn, Santiago Pita forward to Henry. Falls back to Pita. Kovac trying to hold up play. And OCB were ready for it. Lions go forward. Haruna looking to play it through to Leal. Telegraphed ball and deflected away by Atlanta. Just about 90 seconds plus added time separating us from the halftime whistle as Leal, a little tug of the shirt against him, will draw a whistle. And Orlando City wasting no time in restarting play. Make sure to stick with us during our halftime report. A lot of ground to cover during the intermission. Highlights, upcoming schedule, and a pair of very intriguing player profiles. One in Chicago, one in Portland. All that coming up once we get the halftime whistle from Island Pexenar. First, though, we've got to get there, and Ignacio Gomez now held, and that will draw another whistle. Pressure applied here. One back high by Atlanta. Threaded out wide. Dunbar across the face of goal. And it falls out of play. Once again, the Atlanta United press coming up with a turnover in Orlando's defensive half. And once again, the 17s can't turn it into offense. That's been one of the real trends that has developed in this opening half. Waiting for the official word, and we get it from fourth official, Daniel and Mary. 8 minutes of first half stoppage time. Booted forward, trying to find Dunbar running onto it, and Okonski will just steer that out of play. Right, and Okonski averaging about 6.5 defensive contributions per 90 minutes this year for Orlando City. Committed collegiately to North Florida, the Ospreys, but he's played well in his minutes, over 1,000 played for the 18-year-old here in 2026. Turned out wide, Amir Henry, top of the area, slid over, Pita, the interchange, whipped back in, it's Dunbar! Beautiful football for Atlanta United, and they have the breakthrough in first half stoppage time, thanks to Cameron Dunbar. It all started with this ball here. Santiago Pita, the little clip over the top. What a find. Back to Cameron Dunbar, unmarked at the penalty spot. Beating Tristan Himes short side and sending the 17s into their first lead of the day.
Atlanta United's goal scored by number 70, Cameron Dunbar, in the 45th minute. This is
10 goals now for Atlanta United, too, over their last 5 matches combined. A high-scoring team in 2026, and they grab the opener at home. Already back in possession at the restart is Atlanta United. Nodded away from Arif Kovac, and this will be OCB transitioning into the attack. Hilton had it knocked away from him by Dominic Chongqui. Chongqui has such great defensive instincts for a player of his age, 18 years old, leads the team in tackles per 90 minutes. Not just doing it for club, but country as well. 3 career youth international caps with the U.S. U19 side. Was called into action for friendlies earlier this year. 6 appearances with the U.S. U18s under his belt. 50 there at the bottom of your screen. Dunbar coming to collect, trying to clean things up. Instead, it's Hilton. He doesn't have the numbers. Hilton trying to get past Dunbar, and instead it'll be a throw in for Orlando City. Gomez plays it through, out of the reach of Justin Hilton, a former FC Cincinnati 2 midfielder. And Atlanta United unscathed on that journey down the pitch by the Lions. Here comes Orlando City B. They'll work it wide to Belgadere. Belgadere cuts top of the area. Belgadere to Haruna. Looking for the angle. Back wide he goes. It's Torres. Floats it in front. Deflected away. And Sibrian no choice but to just clear that out with Torres bearing down on him. It'll be Belgadere's throw into Gomez. Miller works it forward, now slicing inside. They find Pedro Leal. Haruna played into Amu Mensah, helped along to Hilton. Hilton surveys, wants that service, cut out, and that is where Akonski will go back to collect. For Orlando City, offensive frustration has been the theme of the last few weeks. Have not scored a goal since the 3rd minute of second half stoppage time against CT United, courtesy of Matthew Belgadere. In that span, they've conceded 10 goals. Lining this up from distance, parried away by Ransom, and out for a corner. Pedro Leal saw a window of opportunity he liked, and draws a fine save at full stretch from the 18-year-old. Third corner of the first half here for Orlando City B. Lofted back post, batted away initially. Leal will help reset things. Second ball, served wide, over to Hilton. Hilton cuts inside, it falls to Haruna! 1-1! Right place, right time for Issa Haruna. His 4th goal of the season and 2nd against Atlanta United. It was coded well defensively initially on the set piece by Atlanta United, but Hilton took a ricochet off his boots, and 38 in purple and gold, stepping up when they need him.
Orlando City B goal scored by
The
number
20th
48,
pick in this year's MLS Super Draft,
in the
grabbing
52nd minute.
his 6th goal involvement of 2026. And mere minutes after conceding the opener, Orlando City have found a way to put themselves back on level terms. Eddie Wilding had said this week for Orlando City that he has challenged his team this weekend to be brave, take the initiative. Aruna slow to get back to his feet after an errant sliding challenge. Atlanta United grabbing the opening goal, but Orlando City taking the initiative, and now we have some extracurriculars here. Orlando taking exception to the collision that sent Haruna down. Jose Silva taking exception to something else. Now fourth official Daniel Ameri will come out of the substitution area and have a word with Atlanta United's coaching staff. Temperatures are running high, and so are some of these emotions here in this rivalry fixture. One last push here before the halftime whistle. Served in on the free kick, into the mixer, headed down and away. Belgadere will have it for Orlando. Belgadere went tumbling down. Initially sounded like there was a whistle for halftime right before all of that, and there was a whistle for the half, and now a yellow card will come out of the pocket of Island Pexenar right at the end of this spirited first 45 minutes in Georgia. Things are all square through 45 minutes of play between Atlanta United and Orlando City B at the end of the opening half. Coming up in our halftime show, more player profiles, the upcoming schedule, and first half highlights when we return.
Welcome back to Marietta. We'll visit with Chicago's Christopher Cupps about playing for the national team. But first, let's learn another one of our great stories on the MLS player pathway. This one includes a happy surprise when Portland's Eric Izoida recently made his Major League Soccer debut for the Timbers.
On March 22nd, the Timbers called up Timbers 2 midfielder Eric Izoida ahead of their match against the LA Galaxy. Hours later, the 18-year-old academy product was named to the starting 11, making his MLS debut.
I didn't really know if I was starting or anything. I thought maybe I'd be on the bench, I'd play, but I was kind of just waiting for it. I was getting ready. I was like with my family, just chilling at home, really. I found out in the meeting right before the game, so like an hour 20 before the game. The anthem, it's always one of my favorite parts of every game. It's always, for me, that's like the crowd is engaged, everybody. It's just really cool experience. For me, just being in the stands, that's one of the parts of the game. And now being there, being on the field, doing it, it was just a really cool experience for me.
Confidence is everything in moments like these. And from the moment he walked into the locker room, Eric felt the trust of his teammates.
They were all just saying, we trust you, we believe in you, we know you're good enough for this. They were all just really positive, telling me that just to work hard out there, to not overdo it, just get into the game and just keep going. I'd say there was the first 10 minutes, I knew I had to go simple, I had to get it out. Then after 10, 15 minutes, I knew I was settling in. I made one good ball in behind, and then after that, I was good. And then second half, it took me 5, 10 minutes to get settled in again.
Arras loses out.
In my mind, after I scored, I thought I only took 1 touch or 2 touch. I thought I just ripped it right away. It felt really good coming off the foot. In warm-ups, I had 2 really good shots as well. They both came off the post, so I was hoping it wouldn't come off the post, but it was just a really good shot. I scored, and I knew we had a little chance to get back in it, and it was just a really good moment for me.
These moments come once in a lifetime, and for Eric, having his family there to see it live was priceless.
They were just really proud. They were all like, just asking how the game was, asking all the details. They were talking to me, telling me all the stuff, how everybody was walking up to them. Everybody was saying congratulations, and even though after the loss, everybody was really happy for me. They were asking how they get our seats and how they know where we were, and I think my brother told them where they were at, and they were just really, they didn't even know they were on camera, so it was like really surprising for them.
Eric's dream of making his debut has now become a reality.
I'm really grateful for all the coaches, for all they've done. They've all done a lot for me and everybody else who's on the second team and the first team. And it's really cool seeing the talents coming out of the academy right now too.
Now, he's focused on everything that comes after it.
For me, it's to obviously break into the first team fully, hopefully get regular minutes. Those are my goals. That's one of my goals. Also getting called into the national team, keep getting called in, and then just up from there.
You've earned this opportunity through the work that you've put in, not only this season, but your entire career so far. When this tournament is over, what do you hope you've learned about yourself as a player?
I think for me, as I kind of age up, continue to go from U17 to U18 to U19 with the national team, it gets closer to playing for the senior team, and that's my goal. For me, my country is the most special level to play at. It's like there's nothing that compares to representing your country. And for me, I mean, my family is like very American, like we ton of European descent and stuff, but we've been here for a while, and so I feel very passionate about my country. So opportunities like this are really special. To play, I mean, potentially to play at the Azteca could be a super surreal experience representing the US. There's like great history there. And just to represent with people that I've known from youth level people that are Americans but play in Spain, but play across the world is an absolute honor.
The RB in, first one to the ball, the tap, saved off the line by Cups.
But I think after this tournament, it's like, I use it as a measuring stick. I have to see where I stack up, what are the things in my game that are still obvious areas of improvement, and how can I close that gap in the next 6 months before the next competition. I think that's what I've tried to do with the national team. Is there these benchmarks where I get to test myself, and this is another one where I get to test myself in a really cool environment with things on the line. It's a unique opportunity, and I'll get a new benchmark, and then I go and beat it in the next 6 months, and that'll be the goal.
The opportunity to build a professional soccer club in Long Island, to me is really unique. Number one, because I'm from New York, I'm from Queens. It's a community that I'm very familiar with, that I resonate with. Long Island has a tremendous source of pride that only Long Islanders know and feel. To do this in a place where there is such a rich soccer history, on the youth end, professionally, is also unique. We're not just launching a soccer club, we're launching a culture, we're launching a community space, we're launching a brand and a team that will make Long Island proud. Island FC will represent, not just what's happening on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we certainly give more than we take, and that's in all parts of the organization and the club.
I came to Long Island 40 years ago now and created the very first professional coaching organization. And out of that has grown this tremendous industry of viral coaching, super clubs and companies. And this is really an end result for that. It's an opportunity through the Island FC to act as an embracing organization that really brings the island together in a significant way and propels male and female soccer to the top. This is bringing professional soccer right to the heart of Long Island, and it makes that dream a reality. They will see young Long Island players coming through and playing pro here with the Island FC and representing Long Island on that international stage.
Great stuff there on the player pathway in Major League Soccer. For our contest here at MLS Next Pro, we're at the break. 1-1 between Atlanta United and Orlando City. There's been plenty of action here around match week 25, getting closer and closer to the end of the regular season here in Major League Soccer's MLS Next Pro division, and we get a chance to look at our recent scores around the league. We go back to Wednesday, and NYCFC picking up the big win over FC Cincinnati. New England falling on the road to Inter Miami, but all eyes paid to that Crown Legacy and CT United result. A 2-0 win on the road for the Coy Wolves of Connecticut United. Shavar Thomas, their first-year manager of the month for the month of July in MLS Next Pro. You'll remember that no independent team has qualified for the MLS Next Pro playoffs in their inaugural season. Only 2 teams as expansion sides have done it in their first year, Crown Legacy being one of them. So CT United trying to make some history, and they'll look to keep that history going on the road against Philadelphia Union. They'll kick off tomorrow's slate. Crown Legacy, Chattanooga in action against one another, 7 p.m. Eastern time. The big heavyweight tilt atop the Eastern Conference table. Chattanooga unbeaten in 11. Crown Legacy desperately trying to provide some breathing room between themselves and Chattanooga FC. Only 4 points separating those teams atop the table in that big Eastern Conference fixture. Plenty busy slate on Sunday tomorrow. Don't miss it. It's all free on OneFootball and the MLS Next Pro YouTube page. For our contest, as mentioned, we've reached the break, so why not bring you up to speed with how we got here with our halftime highlights. A goal apiece for Atlanta and Orlando. For Atlanta United 2, it all started here. Jardinas over to Pita, clip back along, Jardinus in front, finds Cameron Dunbar. He's typically distributing, that time coats himself in glory. That made it 1-0 in first half stoppage time. From distance, parried away by Ransom, and that is where Orlando City would start to turn the screws, looking for that equalizer. Here's Hilton. Goes shuffling out wide, swept off his boots, but Issa Haruna is there, cleans up the mess, knocks it into goal, and that is how we stand through one half of play. 1-1 through 45. Stick with us. Opening kick of the second half when we return to Marietta.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Yeah. Boys hear sentiment. Flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still sticking ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best. Can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions. Trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next. Just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now. Oh yes. Man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now.
The unique energy of a Sunday night. Ideal for calm music, whispers, stargazing, reflection, and a relaxed environment. Sunday nights were made for this.
Almost go time for the second half here in the Atlanta Metro. Atlanta United, Orlando City here in match week 25. A 1-1 stalemate through a half of play between these Southeast Division foes. Team starting to trickle out of the halftime locker room here at the Atlanta Training Ground, the headquarters of this Atlanta United organization. Along with our broadcast team, Jake Griffith, glad to have you alongside us to open up a busy Saturday here in MLS Next Pro's Match Week 25. Three other matches will get kicked off at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. New England, NYC FC, FC Cincinnati, Carolina Core, who are battling for their playoff lives. Some elimination scenarios potentially for Carolina Core this weekend. Need points against FC Cincinnati too. They did make headlines yesterday, the Foxes did, taking the interim tag off Jake Davis, who came in mid-season to take over the reins of that club from departed manager Donovan Ricketts. For Atlanta United too, I have to feel like it was a bit of a bitter pill to swallow going into the locker room. You grabbed the opening goal in the second minute of first half stoppage time, but you just couldn't hold on to that lead. Very short-lived. About 5 minutes later, you concede the equalizer. If you're just joining us, if you missed that opening half, Jose Silva was shown a yellow card coming off the pitch at the end of that opening 45 minutes. He and Aislinn Peksanar had been exchanging some pleasantries with one another. Just about set to go for half number 2. Orlando getting things set with their lineup. Both teams on the pitch. Our center referee has them ready to go. "45 minutes to find a winner in this contest. Second half, all set to resume here in Georgia. And there it is, the second half whistle. Back underway officially here inside the Atlanta Training Ground. The Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground at the headquarters of this Atlanta United organization. One change for either team coming into this second half. Nolan Miller, the first teamer for Orlando City. 45 minutes in the books. He will come off. Caleb Trombino will come on. That is the second change used this afternoon by Orlando City. And for Atlanta United, Didi Cibrian will come off. And Ignacio Suarez-Corey will make his first trip onto the pitch. 20th of the season for Orlando City, rather for Atlanta United in 2026. Worked forward, here's Amir Henry, part of the Atlanta United Academy. 17 goal contributions for Henry during the 2025-26 MLS next season at the academy level. Atlanta United, they call it the proving ground here, these 17s, and they continue those young players to prove themselves at MLS Next and the next level up, MLS Next Pro. Okonski impeded. It's a delayed whistle, but a whistle nonetheless. Meanwhile, there was an Orlando City player slow to get back to his feet, and that is Issa Haruna, who was the recipient of a bit of a heavy collision there at the end of the opening 45 minutes that touched off some of that back and forth between coaches and teams and players. It wouldn't be a rivalry matchup if there wasn't a lot of angst and emotion charged throughout this contest. Here's Jonathan Ransom, made one save in the opening half. Goes diagonal with that ball. Good layoff from Dunbar. Suarez-Corey handcuffed by the pass, though, and back on the attack are the Lions of OCB. Trombino. Caleb Trombino, the 16-year-old, coming on for this second half. He's got it now and gets rid of it. Scored a goal in pretty dramatic fashion earlier this year, a match winner against Carolina Core. In behind, trying to find Leao, who went tumbling down. There was no whistle, and now Pedro Leao, he is down in a heap. Both he and Matthew Sananu were fighting for that same direct ball over the top from OCB. Leao went down clutching his chest and his midsection. Now Ransom and Sananu asking for some sort of explanation from Iceland Pexenar. They felt like there was a foul against Pedro Leao that went uncalled. The knocks are starting to pile up for Orlando City as the training staff will trot back on for what is the 4th time already this afternoon. We've already seen Albright Shikamso have to leave about 20 minutes into the contest due to injury. He was spelled by Nicolas Torres. Haruna has gone down twice in this contest. Now Leao has becoming a war of attrition almost for Orlando City. The good news for OCB, Leao is back to his feet. You see him there walking out of frame on the left side of your screen. He doing so under his own power. Play will resume off the drop ball from Iceland Pexenar, and we're back underway. OCB down to 10 men right now without Pedro Leao on the pitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Substitution for Atlanta United 2 in the 49th minute. Entering the match, number 56, Ignacio Suarez-Corey. Exiting the match, number 81, Didi Cibrian.
Here's Ignacio Suarez-Corey, the lone change for the second 45 minutes from Jose Silva. Silva, a former Orlando City assistant for this OCB side in his own right. 19 to 2021 he spent during their time in USL. Chica will switch the point of the attack. Left it short, though, and it is knotted out of play. John Kui inside, Suarez-Corey. Jardinas almost overran the ball and now recollects. Work inside from distance! It's a Dunbar double for Atlanta United. Back in front they go, 2-1. Cameron Dunbar stepping into space, rifling it past Tristan Himes. It's the second time he's been fed by Jardinas, and it's the second time he's beaten OCB short side of goal.
Number 70, Cameron Dunbar in the 51st minute.
Dunbar, the leading chance creator on this team this year. He's taking his chances today. A pair of goals. The fans chanting his name, and deservedly so. Cameron Dunbar continuing to wow here against OCB. Daniel Chica will come up with it. 59 career MLS Next Pro appearances for Daniel Chica. Spent 2 years at Carolina Core. Also spent a lot of time during his career in the ranks of USL, both Championship and League One. Was with Lexington during their League One season. They have now transitioned into the Championship. Was with Loudoun United. Driven out of play, Atlanta United will have the throw-in. As Dominic Chong Kui will have it over on that far touchline. Long toss in from Chong Kui. Glanced a long tap toward goal, but whiskers wide and out. Arif Kovac very nearly making it a pair of goals in about a 3-minute span for Atlanta United 2. Not to be had, and Orlando City breathing a sigh of relief. They stay within striking distance. This has been some start to the second half for Jose Silva's bunch. You go back to the opening 45 minutes, and that was something that really set the tone early on in that contest as Belvedere able to knock that free of Atlanta United. Santiago Pita pressing, comes up with it. Kovac back through once. Amir Henry. It's cut out, though. back to Atlanta United. That was something in the first half they did well. They set the tone, established a rhythm early, really came out of the gates firing. Took some time to find their first shot on target, but still, they were able to dictate things to Orlando City, and that's been somewhat of the case here in the infancy of the second half. Worked along, seeking Leao. Booted away from his possession, and out it goes for an Orlando City throw. Nicholas Torres will throw it in. Consecutive clearances from Matthew Sinanu, the former Colorado Rapids 2 defender. Watch out, everyone. There's 2 soccer balls on the pitch. Aruna will drop back to pick that ball up. Now worked forward by Orlando City B. This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Emory Healthcare. Atlanta United will go all the way back safely to their netminder and Jonathan Ransom, wearing the captain's armband today. Chipped forward over to Dunbar. He's got 2 this afternoon. Chong Kui trying to pick the pieces up. Instead, across the touchline it goes. And it will be a change of possession via the throw-in. For this Atlanta United 2 side, getting down to the final 5 fixtures of the campaign for the 17s. And health is obviously something you want to have in your back pocket. Full fitness when you get to that playoff push. And the availability report coming into this weekend was pretty clean for Atlanta United too. They did make a signing earlier in the week. Caio Assis coming over, not cleared yet to play, getting his visa responsibilities taken care of. Liam Butt's the only player on the injury report for Atlanta United with the knee injury. Relatively clean bill of health for this Atlanta United 2 side. Aruna, good interchange here. Torres forward, it's Belgadere on the left. Belgadere stops. Tuck back inside, Hilton couldn't hang on to it, and retreating are the Lions now. Worked along that far flank. Here comes Orlando City, trying to turn away from pressure. Instead, they turn it over. A chance for Atlanta United to transition into the attack. And that they do. Pita. Kovac held play up, found Dunbar, and now here's Pita to Suarez Corey. Chica. Ahead. Finds Henry on the right. Back to Chica. Santiago Pita dancing through defenders. Jardines back to Pita, floats it in toward goal, and that will be claimed solely by Tristan Himes. Kui heads it out of play. Orlando wasting no time in getting that ball back in. Aruna Haruna trying to take on one too many, and instead it'll be a change of possession that favors Atlanta United for this throw. Orlando City, they have had some trouble consistently and routinely progressing through the midfield in this contest. Yes, they are coming out in the same shape as their opposition today. Here's Chica off the distribution. Chica shovels it forward. Henry service, the cutback, falling all the way through. It's Dunbar! Misses wide. It's deflected on its way. It'll be a corner. Good side-to-side action here for Atlanta United, and they find Cameron Dunbar alone. He has been the offensive catalyst, not just this season, but specifically today. As we come up on the hour mark elapsed, Santiago Pita will have the third corner of the day to Atlanta. Pita whips this in, the heads go up, deflected away though. Belvedere trying to shift inside. This will be a yellow card handed out to Atlanta United. Amir Henry going into the book of Island Pexenar. A professional foul, as some might call it. Just holding up what was assuredly going to be Orlando City, getting off on the prowl, looking for that equalizing goal. Gomez forward. Here's Haruna, has the only Orlando goal so far. Haruna! Couldn't get enough on that shot, and it is simply swiped away by Atlanta United. Torres directing traffic. Hilton will reset. Back he goes. And now Trombino to Gomez. They want to change the angle of the attack. That'll be successful as it's worked out wide. Trombino trying to lay that one back off. It does! Kick save made by Ransom. It all ends with a foul against Orlando City, but a lovely interchange to free up Nicolas Torres. Long diagonal ball here, trying to find Amir Henry. Overhit just ever so slightly and quickly thrown back in by Orlando City. Going back to OCB, one of the issues that's plagued them here in this contest is their lack of ability to consistently and routinely get through this midfield of Atlanta United. One of the things about the 4-2-3-1 shape that this Atlanta United side are in today is they can be susceptible to be overloaded in the midfield. Any team that comes out in that shape can be. Ideally, if you're Orlando, you want to try to trap those two central midfielders and get in 3v2, 4v2 numerical advantages. They just haven't been able to do that consistently enough. And that's created some problems for Orlando City when trying to get numbers in the attack. Ball in behind, seeking Ignacio Gomez. Cleared out of play by Atlanta United. And again, wasting no time on these restarts today is Orlando City. They want to play fast. And they have been able to on those restarts. Haruna will volley it into space. Trying to find Hilton cutting ahead. Rather, Amu Mensah. Back into the former UNC Greensboro midfielder, Haruna, SoCon Freshman of the Year back in 2024. Volleyed out wide. Good back heel to set Amu Mensah's service up, looking for Leao. Headed away. Pieces picked up, though, by Torres. Haruna to Hilton in a tight space. Hilton goes down at the end of it. Worked out wide, seeking Belgadere. And it is headed out. This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Gallagher. Ball peeled out there by Jardines, and now Santiago Pita will collect it back from Suarez Corey. Chica steps up and whips that one off the target and wide out of play. If you're Orlando City B, you need a little bit more of that on the defensive side of things, out of possession. And you saw the way they were man-marking the double pivot of Atlanta United, the pivot being Jardines and Ignacio Suarez Corey in this contest. It takes away that option ahead as out comes Ransom sprawling on it. The net is empty, and Belgadere has it. Here's Belgadere from distance, blocked away. But if you can successfully press that pivot of Atlanta United, if you're Orlando City, it takes away some of those options underneath. When you build short, forces you to go long, and as we've seen today, when Atlanta United have gone long, it has been a bit of a mixed bag of success. Orlando City have had good coverage in behind. Has been something that Orlando City B have worked to fix compared to that loss against Chicago Fire. Mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. They conceded a little bit too much space against Chicago Fire. You go back and you watch that contest, and Fire 2, Mike Matkovic's side, they're booming balls forward. They're occupying a lot of space in the flanks. They're getting in those good 1v1 situations that in possession a team really wants to try to find themselves in. Chongqui up that far touch line and offline on that pass forward. Torres. Good initial touch. That space closed off very quickly, though. Amir Henry applying the pressure. Haruna wants to go wide over to Belgadere. And again, cut out by the header clearance of Daniel Chica. We talk about going long for Atlanta United. Daniel Chica has been a crucial part of that vertical game for the 17s, helping unlock that direct play that they look for at times. Team leader in long passes completed per 90 minutes is 44 there on the left side of your screen. Speaking of going long, they do, and they do successfully. Here's Dunbar, puts it in front. Pita goes tumbling down, rather Kovac, that is. Cheers from the pro-Atlanta crowd here in Marietta. Appeals for the whistle go unanswered from Iceland Pexenar, and back the other way is Orlando City. Haruna's ball cut out. It falls to Gomez, who walks it along. Good combination. It's Amu Mensah on the right. Eddie Wilding earlier this week, he talked a lot about Parker Amu Mensah. The ball forward through that half space out of the reach of Issa Haruna. They have loved what Parker Amu Mensah has brought to this Orlando City side. His attitude, his leadership. We'll get a stoppage here. Changes made by Jose Silva. It's a double substitution on for Atlanta United. Santiago Pita will come off. Spelling him is Joshua Kwan, the Atlanta United U16er.
Gonzalo Riveras. Exiting the match, number 85, Amir
And
Henry.
Gonzalo Riveras will come on in place of Amir Henry for Atlanta United.
Match, number 40, Santiago Pita.
Two changes left to be made by Jose Silva and company. The aforementioned Joshua Kwan, 83, right in the right side of your picture. So earlier this year earned a call to U.S. Youth National Team camp with the U.S. U16s. Clipped forward, Kovac sliding down was Torres to knock it away from him, but it falls to Jardines. Now we got a whistle against Atlanta United too. This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Adidas. Rivera able to nod that one away. Worked back over to Tristan Himes. Has the pressure collapsing in on him. Sananu will come up with the interception, and Sananu shoveled down, which will draw a stoppage. Options going ahead, quickly closed off by OCB. Ransom now will swing it along. Took a deflection off of Orlando City B and landed a Konski. No one in possession at the moment, and Atlanta United able to peel that ball out of a crowd. Arif Kovac was slow to get back to his feet. Countering now are the Lions. Hilton slicing back to the inside, finds Haruna. Suarez Corey couldn't peel that ball away from Mr. Haruna, who scored in 45+7 first half stoppage time. Belvedere and Orlando City trying to get rid of it quickly. They fall right into the trap set by Atlanta United, but it won't matter. They win it back courtesy of Ignacio Gomez. Rivera comes up with it. Numbers here if Atlanta hurries. Suarez Corey. Rivera, the cutback, it's Kovac! History for the 19-year-old. The most goals in a single season in club history. Alone at the top is Arif Kovac, and Atlanta lead by 2.
You knew he would find a way. MLS Next Pro's leader in goals. He'd been marked well in the first half. Needed just an inch of daylight to beat Tristan Himes.
Assist on the goal by number 95, Gonzalo Riveras.
The stars are shining bright in Georgia. A Dunbar brace and a Kovac goal. The difference makers for Atlanta United here on this Saturday. Two more changes during this break in play for Orlando City. Brady Kendall will come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Substitutions for Orlando City B in the 75th minute. Entering the match, number 51, Brady
Pedro
Kendall.
Leao and Justin Hilton, their evening
Pedro Leao.
is done here in Atlanta.
Entering the match, number 63, Hector Aguirre.
Hilton had some quality runs, quality service provided for Pedro Leao. Team leader in goals with the 8 strikes this year. Was handcuffed pretty well defensively by Atlanta United here in this contest. So it's Brady Kendall, the Orlando City U18 midfielder, and Hector Aguirre, the 16-year-old forward out of the Orlando City Academy, coming on for OCB, who the deficit has doubled now after the recent Arif Kovac goal. Chasing it down is Belgadere. Aruna hands it off, trying the interchange, and Dunbar just all over that one, suffocating the Lions over on that far flank. Here is Arif Kovac dropping in to help build for Atlanta United. Part of what Jose Silva, his manager watching on over on that far touchline, lauded him for his hold-up play, his willingness to run. Jose Silva also was excited about the fact that Arif Kovac is doing all of this, having this much success, and is from St. Louis, Missouri. Jose Silva going to college in the St. Louis metro area. Lindenwood University, Belleville, was a coach, a player there.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention
Has some
please.
commonality with his young star in that regard.
Indicated a safety and hydration break for the players. The break will last up to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Coming up on the final 12 minutes plus stoppage time to go here in regulation, and before we get there, we have our second pause for hydration here in Marietta. A warm one, but the temperatures aren't the only thing that are hot today. This Atlanta United attack with 3 goals from 2 different goal scorers has been the story of the day. Specifically, Cameron Dunbar turning in a man-of-the-match-esque performance. 2 goals, 1 in each half for the Californian. The 3rd highest scoring team in MLS Next Pro this season. Atlanta United 2. Now their 10th goal in 2026 with at least 3 tallies to their credit. For Jose Silva and company, you just have to love the way your team has responded here in this second half. Orlando had momentum going into the halftime locker room. They scored
the more recent goal of the two going into the end of the first 45 minutes. Anytime you give up a late goal like that, things can easily fall apart on you in the second half, just in terms of how swings of momentum work. But the message, whatever was said by Silva and his coaching staff in the locker room for Atlanta United too, they took it to heart, and they have come out and imposed themselves on this contest. Coming out of the hydration break, Atlanta United will make a change. Their fourth of 5 possible changes, as Toto Majub will come on in place of Matthew Sinanu, who has turned in a very strong shift along the back.
Exiting the match, number 82, Matthew Sinanu.
Sinanu coming over from Colorado Rapids in the Western Conference. Brings a lot of pedigree to this Atlanta United side. Specifically, playoff pedigree. Was a part of Eric Boucher's team a season ago that romped all the way to the MLS Next Pro Final before being felled by reigning champions Red Bull New York 2 and their former manager, Michael Bradley, who, as plays back underway, is now at the MLS level pulling the strings for the Red Bull New York organization. Speaking of Major League Soccer, Atlanta United, they'll be back in action at the first team level. The Sunday Night Soccer presented by Continental Tire. That'll take center stage. You look at their most recent MLS action. They were in Minnesota against Minnesota United during the midweek, a late winner for Atlanta United in that contest. Adrian Gill got the start, played 84 minutes. Second consecutive start after spending the lion's share of the beginning of 2026 with this Atlanta United 2 side. 16 starts in as many appearances for the Denver native. So able to continue to work himself back to full fitness following injury, and now showcasing himself at the MLS level. For Atlanta United, just a few weeks ago, chatting with Jose Silva, as they'll put this ball back into play. There's a new era this year, so getting deep into the MLS season, but a new era as Tata Martino taking things over for Atlanta United at the first team level. Jose Silva, he said that it's amazing, called Tata Martino one of the best coaches in the world, loves the knowledge that he's brought to this organization, the energy. So the relationship is so great between first and second team here at this organization, exchanging tactics, discussing players, and really everything under the sun. And so we get a whistle here from our center referee for a stoppage. Atlanta United at that first team level, they have made somewhat of the most of their young players' minutes when possible in 2026. Of all Major League Soccer clubs, Atlanta United ranks 12th in MLS in minutes played by players under 23, 3,074 combined minutes played by U23. 7 different players, the 4th most in MLS. Here's Dunbar now, already has 2. Dunbar operating in the wide area, stops, now cuts it back. Still Cameron Dunbar, just toying with Okonski. Ransom will step up and boot that all the way down. Not decisive enough for a clearance from Orlando City as Ignacio Suarez Corey taken down by Caleb Trombino. And now Atlanta United will make their final change of the day. In fact, both teams will make their final change of the day.
Entering the match, number 33, Patrick Weah.
Patrick Weah, the former Minnesota United two-man, 19 career MLS Next Pro goals under his belt, will come on to spell Andrew Hardinas, the 17-year-old Georgian.
Entering the match, number 55, Deshnik Nikkei. Exiting the match, number 38,
Deshnik Nikkei will come on for Orlando City B, representing their final change. The Orlando City U17 Academy forward, representing the final change used by this OCB coaching staff. Nikkei, the native of Cameroon, he's put up some big numbers in the most recent MLS Next season for the Orlando City U17 side. Played up an age group when he started with them at just 15 years old. 4 goals, 9 assists across the most recent academy season for the 16-year-old. There was a whistle that brought things to a stoppage inside the final 5 minutes plus stoppage time to go here in this contest. Weah trying to dispossess Ignacio Gomez, the Argentine, and instead it's turned upfield by Orlando City. But it will fall out of play. For OCB, staring down a 5th consecutive loss. They came in tied for the longest active losing streak in MLS Next Pro with Real Monarchs in the Western Conference, who have also dropped 4 straight. It is the longest longest losing streak, that is, for the club, going all the way back to the 2020 season. They lost 4 straight matches from October 7th through October 24th, 2020, which was situated inside of a much larger 7-match losing streak. Still, despite the result, should this result hold for Orlando City B, and there's still time to go, should it hold, despite it, there's still life for OCB in the playoff push. They're just narrowly on the outside looking in. Dominic Chongqui committing the foul. There was a late whistle, and it will be a free kick here for Orlando City. An opportunity here, perhaps, to pull something back. It'll be Amu Mensah tight along that far touchline. Twice this year, OCB have converted off free kicks. Amu Mensah, out swinging ball, headed toward goal, but it won't make its way through. A significant crowd. Kept on by Okonski, clipped into the mixer, nodded away again by Atlanta United, and here's Weah, 1 man to beat. There's a whistle, and it's a foul against the 22-year-old Liberian. Had a collision over on the near touchline. Daniel Chica running right into Deshnik Nikkei. No whistle had sounded. It's thrown back in here by Atlanta. Tucked in. Here's Weah to Dunbar. Dunbar feeds Kovac. Arif Kovac looking for space on that end line. Works it back over toward Chongqui, but out of his possession, and a change of possession occurs via that throw in. Waiting the official word on stoppage time. Initial indication is that it could be as much as 5 minutes, and it will be exactly 5 minutes of stoppage time, according to Daniel Mary, our fourth official. Time if you're Orlando City to claw your way back into this contest. Just one shot on target in this second half for OCB. Trombino has it taken away right from him from distance. That goes sailing high. They had Arif Kovac over on the left. Kwan electing to take it on himself. For Atlanta United, the game plan was clear. They wanted to get in this attacking half, hold that ball as much as they possibly could. This year, north of 50% possession. Their average 51% right on the dot. They're right around that average today with the 52% share of the ball. Jose Silva described it as rest possession. Find ways when Atlanta are in possession to make the opposition chase, but not exert yourself or overexert yourself, that is, due to the hot conditions. Here's Ignacio Suarez. Corey tries to roll it through to Weah, deflected back. Still Patrick Weah, it's 4. The second half substitute puts a bow on it for Atlanta United, who will keep all 3 points here at home. The charge led in by Ignacio Suarez Corey. Initial pass, not online. Never giving up, though, was 56 in red and black. Kept it alive, knocked it over to Weah, who swept it past Himes. It is all Atlanta today. Atlanta United, the highest open play expected goals side in MLS Next Pro. Jose Silva said, that's our identity as a team. We have a number of guys who can make magic happen, just like this man here. Dunbar put in front. Still, it's Weah. Weah misses that far post wide. Toto Majub just whiffing on the pass. Had defenders all around him, not necessarily his fault. And Weah, you see the result at the end, couldn't believe it. Almost had a brace in quick succession. There's a collision back behind. Chongqui having some words. Some frustrations boiling over. It was Hector Aguirre coming off the bench minutes ago and committing that foul. For Atlanta United, they're going to ride high into a road trip down to Miami, another Southeast Division rival. The Herons long eliminated from playoff contention. Dunbar will peel that free. It's Kovac! A man on fire and a man well in form. A second half brace for Arif Kovac. 5-1. Just a slight nod down. Dunbar in that center space, funneling it out wide. Have a day, Arif Kovac.
2 goals scored by number 39, Arif Kovac. Assist on the goal by number 70, Cameron Dunbar.
Just an unbelievable day on the offensive side of things for Atlanta United. This was a 1-1 contest coming into the second 45 minutes. Goals from Dunbar, 2 from Arif Kovac, and Patrick Weah adding 1 to his tally as well. The 17s running away from OCB. Too heavy of a first touch from Nikkei on that ball forward. We've gone across the 5 allotted for stoppage time. And there it is, the full-time whistle at last in Marietta. Atlanta United, after dropping the first meeting of the year against Orlando City, they storm back and grab the second in a big way. A 4-goal second half explosion spurred on by that man in the center of your screen, Cameron Dunbar. A 5-1 final in favor of Atlanta United. And our man of the match presented by Adidas. Well, who else but Cameron Dunbar, opening the scoring in first half stoppage time. The little clip over, set up well. Dunbar slotting it in, and then he did it again, fresh out of the halftime locker room. From distance, booting it past Tristan Himes. He grabbed an assist as well in this contest. A 3-goal involvement day for your man of the match, Cameron Dunbar. Atlanta United, they're on fire. They're heating up at the right time, and they are winners on this Saturday afternoon. 5-1 our final from Marietta. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast team, I'm Jake Griffith. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. Good afternoon.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.